Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome into the 143. This is Under Review coming at you live with episode 218. Today we have our special guest, college basketball insider, Seth Goble, with us every year for March Madness. Seth, how are we doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Thank y'all for having me on again.
Yeah, every year, Seth, he's way more tuned into college basketball than me and Nick, so that's why I have him on. Nick, how's it going?
Doing good. Excited to talk about college basketball once again. I say talk about it. Listen to Seth talk about it.
I do think I got the national champion right last year. So
yeah, he did. So he's on a hot streak right now, and he's gonna do it again, folks. And if he doesn't, he'll Venmo you $50 because that's his job, is to get it right. So, all right. We're going to roll into it. Stat of the week brought to you by our sponsor, Andrews Logistics. Just something to keep in mind when making your bracket this year is that a team that lost their first game of the conference playoffs has never gone on to win the NCAA championship. So any team that lost their first game in these conference playoffs that happened this past week probably will not be winning the whole thing. So that's just something interesting to keep in mind with your stat of the week.
And then player of the week, AJ DeBansta, freshman out of BYU. He's supposed to be a top 3 pick in the draft. So we'll see. Averaging 25 a game. He's pretty nasty. So we'll see.
There we go. AJ DeBansta. Seth, how are we feeling BYU? Are they making a deep run in this tournament?
They're good. AJ DeBonst is good enough to carry them to probably the Sweet 16, but they lost their second-best player, Richie Saunders, with the torn ACL a couple weeks ago. So he averaged 18 a game. So that really, I think, limited their ceiling to not too far.
Are they beating Gonzaga in this round of 32 right here?
Gonzaga makes the Sweet 16 every year, so I would say no.
Okay, so BYU's probably losing.
Yeah, but AJ DeBonsta is good enough. I mean, he can drop 40 on any given night. So
yeah, that's true.
That game's scary.
All right, well, let's just kick it off. How are you feeling about all 4 1 seeds made it last year in the Final Four, which is pretty rare? How are we feeling about that repeating?
I would feel pretty good this year about it repeating again. I don't know if all 4 will make it. I think it'll be, in my opinion, I would say it's going to be all 1 and 2 seeds that will make the Final Four. So the Final Four teams will be all either 1 or 2 seeds. I think they're just – I don't know if the 1 seeds are quite as dominant as they were last year with how that looks, but I do think the 1 and 2 seeds are a league better than 3 seeds and below.
All right. Something to keep in mind.
Yeah, and then I guess who's the biggest sleeper right now?
The biggest sleeper – they impressed me a lot in the conference champion week, and it would be 3-seed Virginia. I think they have size, they have defense, they had a good chance to beat Duke down the line. I really think they could have. They have good wins. They don't really have a lot of losses. They've kind of been overlooked, it would seem, all season. But Virginia has really looked good. They can shoot the 3-ball good. They don't turn it over a lot, I don't think. They're good defensively. So I think they also got they don't have an awful draw in the bracket. So I do think 3-seed Virginia can make an Elite 8 Final Four run.
In terms of Duke, who was the number 1 seed coming into this thing overall, they lost 2 of their starting players, which is what we said before the conference championship. And we're like, there's no way they win it, and they did. And do you think Duke has the potential without these 2 guys? Are they getting these guys back, number 1? And does Duke make it to the championship this year?
So they lost their starting point guard with a broken foot a couple weeks ago. So there's a small chance he could come back for conference champion or for the NCAA championship Final Four. I wouldn't bet on it. I know a broken foot sometimes takes longer to heal, and it's like, is he going to hurt his potential future to go play for Duke? I don't know. Their center, though, who many have said is their second best player behind Cameron Boozer, he should be coming back. He was out for foot soreness, so that would lead me to think that he's not going to be out for a long time. But I think I was very impressed with how Caden Boozer played, the younger brother, as point guard. I really thought he would limit how far this Duke team could go, but if he can keep playing like this, if they can get their center back, I think absolutely they could make a championship run. I think they could win it all. But I do think if they lose their center eventually, that they just won't have depth to compete with teams like Arizona and Houston and other tall teams who are playing physical and can guard around the rim.
Okay. All right.
Do you have a prediction on who you think the Cinderella team is going to be this year? Just a low seed that's going to make a little run.
Yeah, if I was going to bet on a Cinderella team, I would bet on Akron. They won their conference. They have a lot of good wins. They lost to Miami, Ohio, the team that went undefeated. They lost by 1 at Miami, Ohio. So I do think Akron might have been the better team there. I think they got a pretty favorable draw with who they're playing. So Akron has really impressed me. I think during conference champion week, they won their conference. They made runs. They can shoot the three ball good. So I do think Akron can make a run. I also think High Point could potentially make a run if they can beat Wisconsin in the first game. So Wisconsin is probably it's hit or miss. So Wisconsin's either going to win by 30 or it's going to be a dogfight. But those two teams have been pretty good.
Would you say the whole Cinderella thing of March Madness has been affected at all by the NIL? Like, I feel like last year there wasn't any kind of Cinderella. All 4 1 seeds made it. Like, with the NIL and these small schools not being able to get as many guys as the big schools with the money, do you think that's been affected at all?
Yeah, I think maybe some. I think you're still going to get Cinderellas. Last year was a really weird year. It's only
all the favorites won last year.
Yeah, all the favorites won. It's only like it's the first time all 4 1 seeds made the Final Four since like 2010 or something like that. So it's just a really chalk year. But I do think we might get a little more pandemonium this year. Some of the higher mid majors have looked pretty good. Some of the other teams in the 3 through 5 range have had some injuries that could lead to bigger upsets this year.
Well, I guess you picked who it was last year, so who's winning it this year?
I would say this year I'm going to go with Arizona Wildcats. I think they've impressed me. I think they've been the best team all year long. I think Duke could compete with them. I think if Duke isn't healthy, then Duke will struggle against them. But I think Arizona wins. I think Arizona got a pretty favorable draw with their region. I think they should, at the bare minimum, make a Final Four as long as they don't choke, which they have been prone to choking in the past. But they got a good side of the bracket. They're hot right now. They just won the Big 12 and the Big 12 conference tournament. So my gut says to go with Arizona Wildcats to win it all this year.
Arizona Wildcats, folks, book it. You heard it here. I also like the Arizona Wildcats, actually, and that was before Seth said that, so would just like that to be known. One question I have for you is there's been a lot of buzz on Twitter, especially from some dude named Mike, about St. John's getting the did they get a 5 seed? Is that correct?
They got a 5 seed, yeah.
So how do you feel about this St. John's placement after a team? They won the Big East tournament, correct?
Yeah, they did. And
how do you feel about the seeding from St. John's? Do you agree with the Twitter buzz going on?
I would personally say they got snubbed. They have 6 losses. They have 1 bad loss. They lost to a bad team in the Big East, and then they lost to UConn. So they had 2 losses, all tournament play, all conference play, which is really good. And then they had some decent non-conference losses, no great non-conference wins. So that's why people are going to claim they got a 5 seed. But if you look at it, St. John's is the hottest team right now, one of the hottest teams right now. Nobody's going to want to play them. They just beat UConn by 10 to 15 on a neutral floor in the Big East tournament. They've been dominant. Bryce Hopkins is playing some of the best basketball he's played all year. Rick Pitino obviously is a great coach. He has a stat. He's won multiple national championships at different programs. So I know last year everyone picked St. John's as a 2 seed to go far in the tournament. Some even picked them to win it all. and their just lack of shooting ended up being what lost them in the second round. But I would say this year they're a good shooting team. They can play defense. They addressed all their needs. Rick Pitino's still one of the best coaches in the game. I think St. John's got underseeded as a 5 seed. And the 4 seed they get to play is Kansas, who I really just don't think is very good.
Nope.
Now, Kansas can go out and beat anybody on any given night, but Kansas can also lose to anybody on any given night. So I think St. John's got a pretty favorable draw. I think if they can play Duke in the Sweet 16 with Duke's injuries, I think that game could be pretty close. So I'm a big St. John's fan. I would hope that they can go far, that they don't let me down this year again, and that they can keep the hot streak rolling on.
Okay, I like that. I also like St. John's. I was looking at them as a Final Four contender.
Mm-hmm.
I don't hate that.
Give me a top 3 seed that's going to get knocked out early. Who's the biggest fraud out there?
Biggest fraud. Let me look at the top 3 seeds real fast.
So it's got to be Purdue.
Yeah, I love Purdue getting knocked out early. I could see that.
Always.
They are hot right now, so we'll see. But Purdue has been prone to choke in the past. I think another one that could get knocked out early would be Gonzaga does normally make the Sweet 16, so it's hard to bet against them. But they lost to like the 250th net ranked team at one point in the West Coast Conference. So, you never know what you're going to get from Gonzaga. You might get some of the best ball you've seen, but also they are susceptible to losing games they shouldn't. But I mean, I would never bet against St. John or Gonzaga not making the Sweet 16 because Mark Few always does.
What are the hopes this year for your Kentucky Wildcats? Are we getting shot out of the gym by another white guy who's going to be an insurance agent? Are we losing to Santa Clara, who is hot right now? They're not really that hot, but are we losing to them or are we winning?
My expectations for Kentucky they're pretty low. If we can beat Santa Clara and then not lose by 50 to Iowa State, I think I would be pretty happy. If I'm not going to be I will be disappointed if we lose to Santa Clara, but if we beat Santa Clara, play Iowa State close, at least have a chance to win that game. It just is what it is. It's been a disappointing season. I'm ready to move on to the off season.
Watch some good basketball after they get knocked out.
Yeah, I'm ready to. I don't expect them to win it all. Normally, I always make a bracket where Kentucky wins it all, but I don't even know if I'll do that this year. I've lost faith in this team, and it hurts to say because, man, I love Kentucky, and I always want them to win. It's hard to watch, but
yeah.
But hopefully they can win one game, so we'll see.
Yeah, they get a favorable matchup, so I guess we'll see. But
I don't know how favorable.
7 seed, that's not like them.
No. Normally they were a 3 seed last year and weren't too.
I wonder if Jack Golke's going to come watch the game or like where he's going to be.
Yeah, I saw his bracket this year. He picks Kentucky to get upset first round every year.
Oh, dude, this guy.
You had your 15 minutes of fame after you played the best you've ever played.
Go back to making some cold calls, man. Like, we don't have time for that.
Yeah, so, I mean, I got to respect him because, that was the best game, like, he'll ever play. So, props to him. But, man,
for real.
But man, it was – I hated that it had to come against Kentucky, man.
Yeah. Well, I guess since everyone else made their pick, I guess I'll make my pick. We'll just say Houston. Pretty safe pick. It's obviously not a 1 seed, but I feel like they always do pretty well. Normally make a deep run, so We'll see. We'll just say U of H Cougars, whatever.
Yeah, Kelvin Sampson's a pretty good coach in March, so it's hard to pick against him to at least make a run at it.
One last question for me, and then I'm good. What's the number? So when you look at the matchups, just number-wise, we have a lot of these people that are not going to know the teams as well. When you're looking at numbers in terms of, like, let's say a 6 playing at 11 or a 5 playing at 12, what's the ones other than the 8 and 9 that you look at for the most, like, upsets? Is it the 4-13s or the 5-12s or the 6-11s? Like, what are you looking at for upsets?
I'm pretty sure I read a stat today that it's been like I don't know how long it's been. I think it was over 20 years since all 6 seeds beat the 11 seeds.
Okay, so look for the 6.
There's always the 5-12 matchups. Those ones are hit or miss. 4-13s can get a little shaky sometimes. So in the 4 seed, you have Nebraska, who has actually never won a conference tournament game. And they are playing against a red-hot Troy team. So we'll see if Nebraska chokes this year again. Maybe they'll get their first March Madness win. Who knows? But once you get to like the 1, 2, and 3 seed, it's personally hard for me to pick against them just because I know it can happen, but knowing how those teams play, it's hard. I don't see unless they just have like the worst game of their life. Right. But once you get to like the 4, 5, and 6 seeds, it definitely like some of those games can be closer to a toss-up.
Yeah.
Well, Seth, appreciate your ball knowledge for us here. Couldn't have done it without you, but
definitely not.
Here's like to end our shows in under review. Brought to you a quote from UCLA head coach John Wooden. He said, "Success is never final. Failure is never fatal. It's courage that counts."
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
Thank y'all for tuning in this week. And Seth, we always appreciate you stopping by once a year around this time. Seth's going with Arizona. I'm probably also going with Arizona. And Nick is going with Houston. So we will see who ends up winning this. But tune in Thursday starting at 11 a.m. all the way until, when's the latest game? Like 10, 9?
Yeah, the games start at like 12 p.m. Central Time here. Or it might be 11 a.m. Central
It's 11.
Time. And then they'll go to like 9. The latest starts at like 9:15 or something. So
12 hours straight.
Yeah, so I'm calling sick for work. Got basketball on all day.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for tuning in this week, and we'll see you next week with another episode of Under Review.